Week 12 of the NFL is in the books and was capped off by a Monday Night Football game that happened. I mean, honestly, the biggest highlight I took from that game was TJ Hawkinson costing me my fantasy football league. We'll talk about all that and more, though, as I go over my power rankings. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy, Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Now, if you haven't seen how I do power rankings, I separate it into 5 different tiers, with the bottom tier being bottom of the league. And then the tier above that is could be, but unlikely teams that I just think are bad, but could play spoiler against better teams in this last stretch of the season. The middle tier is playoff contenders, and then right above that are playoff teams I think are almost a sure thing to make the playoffs. And then the top tier, the Super Bowl contender tier, your legitimate contenders for the Lombardi Trophy. Let's go ahead, get this sucker started at the bottom with my number 32 being the Carolina Panthers. They just fired their head coach, Frank Reich. Yesterday, they played a game against the Titans where it was a one-score game, but they never felt really in the game. Bryce Young, his playmakers are letting him down. The offensive line's letting him down. He's not really doing that well in general. I don't want to put all the blame on everyone but him. His play hasn't been that good this season. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I guess the one thing we can talk about here is, okay, who's going to be the head coach for the Panthers next season? And I think for me, because I don't think Ben Johnson's going to leave the Lions, but I mean, money talks, man. We'll see. I like Brian Callahan, the OC for the Bengals. I think he'd be a really good fit here. But coming in at 31 is the New England Patriots. I am almost 100% confident that Bill Belichick is tanking for the draft. Mac Jones looked terrible. Bailey Zappi came in and didn't look much better. I think he's got his eyes on Caleb Williams or Drake May. I don't think the Patriots fire Bill Belichick. I don't think there's this mutual, we just decided to part ways. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Bill Belichick will be the coach for the Bills, or for the Patriots next season. And right in front of them, I have the Arizona Cardinals. The defense is bad. I think now you're starting, and maybe at this point, you'll start to see the lack of depth, the lack of talent on that defense. The Rams ran right through them like a hot knife through butter. Kyler Murray still looks like he's kind of shaking off the rust as a passer. Wasn't the prettiest game in terms of what he did throwing the football. Though we did get a great Greg Dortch moment where he mossed, I think it was Trey Tomlinson, on a touchdown and gave Trey Tomlinson, this is 5'7", Greg Dortch, by the way, he gave him the little small man taunt. I loved that. That was pretty funny. All right, I got the Tommy DeVito-led New York Giants. Listen, they're not a good team still. Like, the defense is a lot of what they're doing is because of the genius of Wink Martindale. But they're just letting Tommy DeVito kind of sling the ball out there, and he's gotten the job done. He's 2-0 currently as a starter with I don't want to say a good win. The Patriots are a team that kind of feels like they're already given up. But, I mean, his outing last week was pretty impressive against the Commanders, but I got him here at what this would be, 32, 30, it would be 29. So they're 29 on my power rankings. And I only have one more team here in this bottom of the league tier, and it's the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't impressive against the Panthers. They were able to get the run game going somewhat, but still everything Derrick Henry's doing is in spite of how terrible the run blocking is for the Titans. Don't be fooled. Will Levis was an all right game, but this offensive line is not playing good football for the Titans. And that's reflected in, listen, if this was, I was going to say reflected in my power rankings, but hey, if this is the Tennessee Titans at home every week in Nashville, we don't count London, they'd be playoff contenders to me. They're undefeated at home this year. The first team I have in the could be but unlikely tier, it's the New York Jets. I'm so close to just dumping them in the bottom of the league tier. It's just not looked good. They played a tough game against the Dolphins, where until the whatever we're calling the Hail Mary, the Hail Mary that ended up going for a pick six to Javon Holland. That was a 10-6 ball game going to half, and then that happens 17-6, and the Jets couldn't get back into it after that. Tim Boyle's not going to win this team many games, if any. So, yeah, I mean, we all thought the season was over when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I think it's safe to say, if you still had hope, the season's over, Jets fans. All right in front of them, I have the Washington Commanders. They got trounced on Thanksgiving by the Dallas Cowboys. Sam Howell, the protection wasn't great. He threw that pick six to Deron Bland, which, congratulations, 5th pick six of the season. That's an NFL record. But, man, that defense sucks. That defense really, really sucks. I mean, so much so what I think Jack Del Rio was fired after this game. Was he fired the week before? I can't remember. Everything's just mushing together. He's no longer there, though. And no, he got fired, I think, on Friday. But regardless, the defense is bad. Right ahead of them is the Chicago Bears with a really, really good win against the Minnesota Vikings. They forced 4 interceptions. Could have been more. You had a dropped interception by Jalen Johnson. But offensively, they couldn't pay dividends. Once they got in scoring position, they were kicking field goals. They won this game 12-10 off 4 field goals, which, I mean, Santos, he missed his first one, so they didn't capitalize on those turnovers. Fields had a couple of bad fumbles in this game, but he was able to lead the team down the field late with that big pass to DJ Moore, and they end up getting the win. The defense has looked much better for the Chicago Bears in recent weeks, so watch out. They're starting to come together. They're starting to come around. They're far from a complete unit yet, but those are some encouraging signs, and this is why I think they probably stick with Matt Eberflus throughout the remainder of the year, and I think he will be their head coach next season. Next, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. Boy, this was an impressive showing. The Raiders, I don't think they're talented enough to win games against really good teams yet, but they're out in this week. They're out in last week. This team's playing with some swagger, with some spunk. You had Aiden O'Connell just ball out against the Kansas City Chiefs defense, a very tough Kansas City Chiefs defense. They get out to a real early 14-0 lead, but then, Patrick Mahomes decided to be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go off right now. And he did. And they end up winning, pulling away. The defense was a bit handicapped as Max Crosby was dealing with the knee issue. He was doubtful, but he wanted to play, and he ended up being ineffective in this game, unfortunately. Got the Cincinnati Bengals. They played hard, but ultimately just couldn't do anything on offense. Jake Browning just couldn't play a clean game, and they ended up losing against Steelers. Their season was over once Burrow got hurt. Right in front of them, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. How is Brandon Staley still coaching? How is he not fired yet? What are you doing, LA? Get on that. But the defense actually had a relatively all right game. It was really the offense that kind of let this team down. As Herbert, I think his average depth of target was like 5 yards. And granted, they were facing a very tough Baltimore Ravens team, but it does feel like now with like Mike Williams done, it feels like this team has no playmakers not named Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler really doesn't look like he has the same zip, same quicks as we're accustomed to. You got Gerald Everett, though. He made plays time and time again in this game, but ultimately, man, this team just it feels like this whole coaching staff's going to get scrubbed. And then the final team I have in this could be but unlikely tier is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They feel like a good team. They're 4-7 though. This is a team that the defense plagued by injury and ended up showing in this game against the Colts. As they were, I believe they were down Levante David. They had other injuries on defense, and it led to the run defense just not being that good. Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss ate in this game. Offensively, Baker Mayfield was your typical Baker Mayfield. There was those moxie plays. There were the ups. There were the downs. He had the interception. He had to exit the game for a couple of plays. I think it was he hurt himself on like QB sneak or something. But Kyle Trask entered the game, and honestly, for like his 2 snaps, I kind of want to see more Kyle Trask. I'm intrigued. But now let's jump up to this playoff contender tier, and I'm going to start with both the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. I think one of these teams will end up the winner of the NFC South. The Falcons ended up winning this game against the Saints. The Saints suck in the red zone. They can't score in the red zone. They can't score touchdowns in the red zone. They had like 2 or 3 turnovers in the red zone. Derek Carr is so bad in the red zone. Granted, later in this game, they would lose Chris Olave to a concussion. They would lose Rashid Shaheed to a thigh injury. But I think Ryan Ramczyk exited the game as well. But you had the Derek Carr pick 6 in the red zone to Jesse Bates, which he's having a heck of a year. You had he missed Rashid Shaheed on a slant that was basically a walk-in touchdown. He just threw it low. You had Taysom Hill fumbling it. Like, this team sucks in the red zone to the detriment of the team, man. They got to score more points, man, because the offense moves the ball much better than this. I'm just going to say, I want to see more Jameis Winston. Falcons, though. Bijan had a great game. He had a sick wheel route that went for like a 26-yard touchdown reception. Desmond Ridder was Desmond Ridder, nothing impressive, but the defense played fairly solid, especially when the Saints did get in those scoring positions. They were able to hold up. So Atlanta, I believe, has now a slight lead in the division. Then I have the Minnesota Vikings. This was by far Dobbs' worst outing of the year. Not all the interceptions were his fault, but you could probably give 2 of them to him. The Jalen Johnson one he just got baited into it. You had the other 3 were actually tipped balls, and I think one of them was actually just a bad pass. Jalen Johnson could have had another interception. He ends up dropping it. So it wasn't a beautiful game offensively for the squad. And this defense was constantly forced to have to come in and make stops. And they did that against the Bears. They kept bringing pressure. And I thought the defense did a really good job. It was the offense that let this team down. They gave up on the run game way too early and just kept putting the ball in Dobbs' hands despite the turnovers. It just wasn't pretty. It just wasn't a pretty game. Green Bay Packers, though, they had a big Thanksgiving, but unfortunately no turkey. But, man, this offense is starting to click. Like Jordan Love and company, the young guns, they're playing well. Even like Rasheed Walker is playing solid at left tackle. Oh, don't look now. The Packers are hot. They are hot. I do have the Rams spot ahead of them. As we saw, man, Matthew Stafford came in. He was just like, I feel like I'm going to eat today. Kyron Williams, first game back, and he was like, I think I'm going to eat too. He was phenomenal. The offense just couldn't be stopped. And I think the defense actually played a relatively good game as well. As Kobe Turner, man, the rookie out of Wake Forest, played really good. I think he had a couple of sacks on Kyler Murray. And I mean, honestly, they're still in the thick of things. Take a quick look at the stand-ins as. Yeah, I mean, they're just a game behind the Seahawks. If we're gonna look at the playoff race, they are. Yeah, I mean, they're tied with Green Bay and the Saints, and they're just a half a game out from that 7th seed and a game out from that 6th seed. So that 6th and 7th seed is going to be very, very interesting to see who sneaks in there. But let's keep this sucker rolling. I got the Indianapolis Colts right here. Gardner Minshew, he's doing enough. The run game's coming alive. The offensive line's playing wonderful, and the defense played a really good game. Sure, Gus Bradley has the lowest blitz rate in the NFL. It is what it is. I know he hates the blitz. He likes to rely on his stunts and loops and whatnot. But they're playing good football, man. They're playing good football. They're getting wins. Speaking of wins, Denver Broncos haven't lost in 5 games. They are on a 5-game winning streak. They were able to get it done in not necessarily the best looking game, but you were facing the best defense in football in the Cleveland Browns. Granted, they were missing Denzel Ward coming into the game. Myles Garrett exits the game with a shoulder injury, kind of allowed the Broncos to start moving the football. And the Broncos defense, this is not the same defense that gave up 70 points to the stinking Dolphins. They're playing good football. So don't look now. Broncos are making a run. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to my playoff tier, where I'm going to have the Seattle Seahawks. And golly, I'm about to drop them into this playoff contender tier. It has not been good. It has not been good, man. I expected them to lose to the Niners. That's not a surprise to me, but it just doesn't feel like this team is just convincing as a playoff team, convincing as a playoff contender. It just doesn't, man. They're very inconsistent. You really don't know what Seahawk team you're gonna get on any given drive, man. They'll just kind of like go through droughts and just disappear from the game for large parts of the game. So like, yeah, this is one that I'm really contemplating dropping the Seahawks down to this playoff tier. So we might see them there next week. Oh man, I was thinking about doing it right now, but I think I'll wait. I think I will wait. Right in front of them, I have the Cleveland Browns. You had DTR go down on a sack. Who hit him? Was it Baron Browning? Yeah, and then I think he got called for roughing the passer, which it was just a hard hit. But that knocks DTR out of the game. PJ Walker steps in, didn't look good. Offense was stagnant, didn't do anything. Now you have the Myles Garrett injury. So we're gonna injuries have really hit Cleveland pretty hard this season. So that's something to monitor, dude. If they lose Myles Garrett, that could be the death blow to their playoff chances. Right in front of them, I do have the Pittsburgh Steelers. No Matt Canada, no problem. Get out of here, Matt. This offense started putting up yards. Now they got to figure out how to finish those drives, but still, they opened the game looking really nice with the nice pass to Pat Freiermuth. I think Pickett went 6 for 6 on the opening drive. Defense still really good. They got TJ Watt. He's a monster. I think he's tied for the lead in sacks this season. The only thing is just Deontay Johnson just seems hot and bothered. He had the kind of the weird, the drop in the end zone where DJ Turner kind of came in late after Johnson had his feet down and jars the ball loose as they're going down to the ground. And they ended up rolling incompletion. He looked frustrated. I think he was calling for them to challenge it. Very next play is where you have the Jalen Warren fumble, where there's that bad clip going around X of Deontay Johnson just kind of standing there doing nothing. This ball's recovered by DJ Turner and returned for quite a distance. So not a good look altogether. There were a couple of plays later in the game where Deontay Johnson wide open, and it's either Kenny Pickett goes to the other side or Kenny Pickett's under pressure, didn't have time to get back over in his progression. So he's frustrated. I don't know. They might need to have a talk with him. I think I've heard that they have already talked to him in prior weeks. So I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. But Either way, not good. Regardless, winning in spite because Mike Tomlin sold his soul so he would never have a losing season. Right in front of them, I'm going to have the Buffalo Bills. Heartbreaking loss there to Philly. I'll talk I'll talk more about Philly later on. Let's just talk strictly this game where I liked what Joe Brady came in. He was like, I can't get my running backs going, so let's get Josh to do it with his feet. They were doing that, and just the Eagles kept battling back. They force overtime. The Bills have a chance to end it, but a miscommunication that seemed to be on the part of Gabe Davis, and they don't get the touchdown. He's wide open, but he's far away from the football. He's not where he's supposed to be or something like that. I didn't read specifically what happened there. Regardless, the ball went one place while Gabe Davis was at another place. Could have ended the game. They settle for the field goal, and then Jalen Hurts just marches down, scores the game-winning touchdown. Heartbreaking way to lose that game if you're the Bills. And the Bills are desperately in need of wins. They are currently on the outside looking in when it comes to this playoff race. I believe they have a bye week this week, though. So they get a week of rest and a week to kind of sit on and think about what needs to go down, what they need to do to get back on track. And they're going to have to figure out that quickly because when they come back from their bye, they get the Chiefs, they get the Cowboys. So a couple of tough games there. Next on the list here, I have the Houston Texans, man. A tough loss, but man, this team's so fun to watch. So fun to watch, man. Dude, them and the Jags are going to be a very fun rivalry for the next, 6 to 7 years. It's gonna be darn good. So you have Stroud battling back. Him and Tank Dell, they're eating. They battle back and they need to get in field goal position. And unfortunately, they kind of you put your kicker in a position where he has to kick a game-winning 59-yard field goal. Goes off the crossbar. Not game-winning, game-tying, but so kind of heartbreaking. I wish that Stroud and company did a better job of getting them in field goal position or into better field goal position because you don't really want to put that, especially since he's not your mainstay kicker. You kind of hope you could get it closer than 59 yards, but kind of is what it is. Jaguars played a really good game, though. We'll talk about them in a sec. Detroit Lions, man, they had a rough Thanksgiving. So they were missing Jonah Jackson in this game. Colby Sorsdale ends up getting benched because he's just not playing well. The guards got eaten up in this game. Taylor Decker didn't have a great game either, so the pressure was just coming in furiously. Rashawn Gary just was sacking Goff all day, and they really couldn't get anything going until late in this game as they tried to mount the comeback, but by then it was just too little too late, unfortunately. So Detroit's another team that kind of needs to get things back on track. But let's talk about the Jags, man. This is the Trevor Lawrence we expected to see game in and game out this year. They've been pretty hot since getting blasted by the Niners. I think they've played a pretty good last 2 weeks. I think they're going to be a tough team in the playoffs. I really, really do, man. I love the talent on this squad. I love how this defense plays. I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. And yeah, man, watch out. I legitimately considered putting them in the Super Bowl contender tier. But now that we're here at the Super Bowl contender tier, I got to talk about Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up using promo code Broshmo at Underdog Fantasy, they will match that first deposit up to $100. Dues. That means if you deposit $50 and you use promo code Broshmo when you sign up, they're going to give you $100 to play with. If you deposit $100, they're going to give you $200 to play with. It's the best place to play weekly best ball or my favorite higher or lower on player prop bets. But please, as always, bet within your means and bet responsibly. Let's get into the Super Bowl tier, and I'm going to start with the Dallas Cowboys. They are hot. Question is, can they do it in the playoffs? Can they do it more? Can they do it in the divisional in the conference championship rounds. Let's go with that one. Man, this is a great. This offense is running so well. This is a really good defense. But talent is not a question when it comes to this team. It is truly not. So we'll see. They'll have Buffalo. They'll have a couple of. They still got to take on the Eagles in a few weeks. So we'll see, man. We shall see. Right in front of them, I got my Miami Dolphins. They beat the Jets, but of course they beat the Jets. They should beat the Jets. They beat losing teams. They beat bad teams. And we're getting healthier, unfortunately. I say we're getting healthier, and we lose Jalen Phillips for the remainder of the season. Did sign JPP just yesterday, so I mean that'll cushion the loss somewhat. But I still think this defense is playing really well for the Dolphins, and it really does help this offense that loves up tempo, that loves speed. That will probably they're not going to exactly control the time of possession because they just play with such momentum and such speed that a lot of their drives are going to be a bit quicker than maybe some of the other longer drives you see around the NFL. But I mean, that's just their game. And it's great to have Jalen Ramsey back, man. It really is. He has made a world of difference to this defense. Now let's go beat a winning team, though we do face Washington next week. And tell me, why am I a little scared of Sam Howell and the Commanders? I really hope we don't lose. I really hope. I got the Baltimore Ravens. They played really well defensively. Zay Flowers ended up having 2 touchdowns against the Chargers there. He's looking great, but really the story of that game was defensively. They were like, Justin Herbert? Justin who? Who's that? They shut him down. This is a legit Super Bowl team, and if they could get things clicking on offense, I feel sometimes they're still kind of going through a little bit of growing pains with the new offense, but they got the playmakers doing, man. They really, really do. Then the Kansas City Chiefs, they may have took them being down 14-0, but they turned it on late and managed to get things done. Rashee Rice continues to emerge as the next best pass catcher outside of Travis Kelce, which is good. There isn't a lot of... It's not like Mahomes is being helped out by anyone but. So it's nice to see someone else just someone else emerge there. The defense still tough as nails, tough as a hell. Trent McDuffie having a phenomenal season. George Karlaftis having a really good year as well. This defense is going to lead into the playoffs. As, Mahomes and company kind of figure out, hey, why are we not this well-oiled machine on offense right now? It does feel that way. It really, really does. Number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to piss off some people that I have the Eagles here at 2 when they're a 1-loss team, and I have, a 3-loss team ahead of them. But the Eagles have played a lot of close games this year. Granted, they have won those games. Can we talk about how they're always on the winning side of penalties? I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I think it's just the refs kind of suck. They just suck a lot when they're coaching Eagles games. And it's never at the Eagles' expense. I'm just saying there were some calls in that Eagles-Bills game where I was like, oh, that could have been horse collar. Oh, what do you mean that's intentional grounding? I'm like, it's just something you notice. But I'm not going to use that to take away from what the Eagles are doing, because when they need to step up in the big moments, they're doing that. They are, man. Jalen Hurts did that in this game, marching his team down the field, getting the game-winning score in overtime, being able to get his team in field goal position for Jake Elliott, that monster, that psycho, to be able to hit that field goal in those conditions. Yeah, this team's really good, really good. But I think the Niners, if they are truly the Niners we saw at the beginning of the year, and I know they've had some injuries, but they've gotten really healthy as of late. Unfortunately, Talanoa Hufanga going down last week. But I think they're just going to be tough. if this is the Niners team we see throughout the remainder of the year, then yeah, I think the Niners are going to be an exceptionally tough team to beat. I believe that next week the Niners will take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Please say that's Monday night. Dang it. No, of course they don't have a great game Monday night. Yeah, they'll be doing that, and it's going to be in Philly. So if you really got a problem with me having Philly behind San Fran, hey, you win this game, easy peasy. You're in first. You're in first in my power rankings. But I truly believe there's not a more complete team than... I don't know if I'll go that far. Philly's pretty darn complete. I do think Niners have the much better defense. And I would say Philly has the better offensive line. I think they have comparable playmakers. And then I would give Jalen Hurts the edge over Brock Purdy. So they're fairly close. They're fairly close. Hey, if it makes y'all feel better, how about I just put my Dolphins at 1? We cool with that? We're just gonna put the Dolphins at 1, call it a day. There we go. There's my power rankings. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing, and as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.